You're watching Drive the Lightning, the positively charged EV channel.
Yes.
That was perfect. Yeah. Recently, we got an email from a person that follows our channel, and they said, hey, do you think this product would be something worth talking about? And we said, yes. And what is that product? It's an EV charger that goes on your roof, and we're here with the guy who is bringing it to market, Patrick Sherwin, the CEO of GoSun.co. Thanks for being here, Patrick. We can't wait to talk about this.
Y'all, it's such a pleasure to connect with you, Chad and Sarah. You guys are little personal heroes of positivity, and I love your coverage with Aptera, and I'm just really honored to get a chance to have a conversation.
That's how we feel about you, because once this viewer brought you to our line of sight,
our radar,
and we saw this, we're like, I want that today.
Yes.
Regardless if I could buy an Aptera in the future or not, I'm going to have another car, a four-door car, and I want all the free power I can get. And you seem to be developing a product that will do that, Patrick.
Yeah.
Would you explain it to our audience a little bit here, just exactly how this thing is expected to work?
Right. So I'm a solar inventor, and that may have been a key missing element there with the intro. Like, ultimately, we're trying to drive on sunshine. It's been a pursuit of mine for a couple of decades, and it's not an easy thing. It essentially, people argue there's not enough power density, there's not enough surface area, all that types of stuff. Well, a lot of that's true, but we recently reran the numbers, and we're looking at flexible solar technology that has just recently become much more affordable. And what we do is we take a 4x4-foot rooftop carrier, and we stash a bunch of folding solar panels inside it. So when you're driving, that's all secured from, the winds and whatnot. And then when you park, the rooftop carrier will open up, and you unfold across the body of the vehicle two basically 500-watt solar panels. Then you have a 200-watt panel on the top. And now you have 1,200 watts of potential. And then with the electronics that we've got inside, we're basically taking the solar and going straight into a level 1 charging, NACS connector. And you're, while you're parked at work from 9 to 5, for example, you're charging directly from the sun. Whatever you get from the sun we're trying to get to the car's battery.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
And you said it, work. That's what I think of. If I commute to work and I'm going to be parked not me, because I work on the road, but normal people, they're going to be parked for 8 hours, 9 hours. Why not get whatever free mileage I can get, from the sun?
Yeah, well, and for us, we're here in West Michigan. We're close to Lake Michigan. So I'm thinking right now in our Leaf, we drive to Lake Michigan, then we have to go to a charger and charge to get back home. But here we drive to the beach, we unfold our solar, we let it charge while we're enjoying ourselves, and then we just drive home.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Even at level 1 charging, that would be enough for people like us with a small mileage EV to save us having to buy energy. So we don't want to get too much into all the inside guts of this, because that's for you to figure out. As you said, you're a solar inventor, and you have been. And I want to talk about you for just a moment. If I'm not mistaken, you've been doing this for like 24 years.
Yeah.
What's that journey been like for you to get to where you are now, Patrick?
Boy, it's been a blast. The solar industry, has been such a fun, I call it the solar coaster. You have incentives in one state, and everybody goes there, and it's a boon, and then it drops and you go somewhere else. The thing for me, I started doing like off-grid solar originally, and I felt like that was like the true side of the movement. Basically solar was created for the space station. And, then it became more and more affordable, and you could take your off-grid cabin off, but it lost a lot of that and became much more of a financial pursuit in the last decade, which is great. And the economics are penciling out quite well. But I lost a lot of my interest in the inception of, creating something for independence and sort of self-reliance. And that's when I started GoSun. Originally launched it on Kickstarter. So it was a very crowd-funded effort. And I had an evacuated tube solar oven, which cooked a meal in 20 minutes with nothing but light, and it could use it all year round, even in the Michigan winters. As long as you had sunlight, you were good to go. That took off. And then since then, it's just been, well, what else fits into the ecosystem of, self-reliance and recreation? And what else can we do with the sun? And so that's been a really fun journey the last decade, and it's just been continually growing. As you can see on our website, we have a million solutions. It's interesting though, because the company I built just before GoSun was involved in solar integrated electric vehicle charging infrastructure
Oh, cool.
Oh,
down in
Cool.
Western North Carolina. And we did a bunch of work, building, carports, and it was a bit ahead of the curve. And that's one of my issues. I'm always, timing is everything in business. Oftentimes the work that I've done is a little bit ahead, and, the market wasn't quite ready. Back then, the only car on the road was the Roadster and the Leaf,
Oh,
and maybe
wow.
the Chevy Bolt was just coming out. So not a whole lot of cars to charge. Now there's a huge, there's a surge of cars being made, and some of the infrastructure is not quite keeping up.
For
So
sure.
Sarah, on your example of going to the beach, like maybe the little town on the water doesn't have any charging infrastructure, no public charging. So now, you're starting to get concerned about your trip home. Well, with this solar array, you can stay the night, do a destination charge and stay out there, and replenish your battery another 10 or 20% and be sure that you're going to get back.
Yeah, it's a big deal
It
for
really
people
is.
like us, what you're doing. And we can't wait. We're going to be a customer, Patrick. As soon as we can get our hands on this, it's going to be either on the BMW i3 or on the Leaf. I'm assuming you're working out so the NACS will be able to adapt to a J1772. Of
Yep.
course, I mean, that's
And
automatic.
we're actually going to be using J1772 electrical protocol because it's much
Oh,
more
good.
universal.
Oh, good,
On
Nice.
good.
level one. Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent.
So
Every car.
I had a question about when you're driving down the road, you still have the one panel that's exposed when everything else is folded in. Now, is there a place for that energy to go or be stored while I'm driving?
There is, yeah, there is like a small, what we're calling a buffer battery for intermittency. Like, and ultimately that little battery will take that 200-watt charge. If it's full, then you're not utilizing it. But it's something that we're trying to design where uses are pretty regular with this product, nearly every day. So you're constantly, that buffer battery is constantly up and down, up and down. And that's basically its whole function. We know that the electric vehicle manufacturers aren't necessarily letting us go into the battery on the vehicle yet. Someday. And it's only a matter of time before we're going direct to the vehicle's battery. But for now, we're going in through the charge port, and that's why that little secondary battery is a part of our system, is that it allows, you can't just expect that you're always going to have great sunshine to go, and you guys may know that a car, generally an electric car, needs at least maybe 6 amps, depending on the vehicle, in order to hit the EVSE protocol and charge. So we'll have that battery to kind of turn the inverter on and off, and the battery's always going to be taking sunshine.
And I was guessing too that that's going to be better for my battery than it would be using more DC fast chargers.
Oh yeah, that's a huge thing that not many people discuss. And I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but battery longevity is really compromised on the supercharger network and with fast, it's a great way to diminish your investment versus slow and low. I mean, you want to charge every day, slow and low. And obviously, you probably know you don't necessarily want to try to get to 100% every day. So like if you have your EV in your garage and you have it set to charge to 100%, you're not doing yourself a ton of favors. You might consider setting that down to 80 unless you're
that's
going on a
right.
road trip.
Yeah, yeah, we appreciate that. That is something that is overlooked sometimes. We almost never use DC fast chargers in our use case. It just isn't required much. But with the product that you're developing, even more so. I mean,
Right.
when we travel, we would prefer to stop during the day and travel at night. So we can park the car, check out whatever small town we're in, let it charge a little bit anyway, get something in it, and then boom, back on the road. So We can't wait to see this. And people that want to pre-order this can do it now, right? They can put down a deposit and be one of the first in line to get this.
You got it. Yep. We just opened that up in the last week or so, and it's gosun.co/EV, and that'll take you to the page where you can learn a lot more about it.
Great. We'll put a link on the screen and then in the description. So go hit that link. We're gonna go hit that link ourselves and
I can't believe you haven't already.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting on your website too. It mentioned there's a possibility. Now none of us here are tax professionals, I assume, but there's a possibility of maybe some tax rebates by buying a solar project like this. Is that true, as far as you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it pencils out well. Of course, you got to talk to your accountant, but this seems to meet these new, IRA era credits that relate to home charging.
Oh, good. Okay.
And that's an interesting thing for your audience. They may know, but if you even install, level 2 charging in your garage, 30% of the cost of the product can be credit.
Yeah, we took advantage of that, but we don't have a garage. We our chargers on the side of our house, which is fine. Even more so with the product you're developing. We would want to park in the sun anyway. At night, we could pull it into a garage if we had one, but not going to build a garage.
Patrick, I did want to ask you about another product that you have on your website, because Michigan's famous for camping. And like you mentioned, if you want to drive and you want to maybe do an overnight, you have the ideal way to do that with a camper. Tell us more about this, will you?
So cool.
Yeah, the Camp 365. Just what's really unique about it first is, you've got to get there, and there isn't a camper in the market that has such low drag. It's slipstream style. The way it's constructed is way different than everything else out there, and it's also extremely lightweight. So if you're an EV owner, this is pretty much the camper for you, because towing is definitely a huge drain on a vehicle. And when you arrive at the camp, it takes just 5 minutes to take this. It's kind of hard to describe without watching the little clip on the web, but you take this this narrow nacelle, and the wings drop down onto some struts that are all part of the deal, and then you've got this kind of floor. Well, within that floor is 2 walls, and the walls are kind of origamied together. We've already done one major fold, and then we're going to go in another angle, and the walls pop up. And what you're left with is about, I think it's over 100 square feet. I don't remember exactly, close to 200. I can't remember, but it's like a 12 by 14 cabin that is all on wheels, obviously, and the structure is the walls. Much of the walls are made of this incredible material. It's called Aqualon, but there's 2 layers of it, so there's kind of a trapped airspace. So it does a pretty good job of staying insulated, from the heat in the summer, or you could warm it up in the winter. And then within it, we partnered with this manufacturer called Camp 365, who does a great job building these, but traditionally was building them with, standard RV appliances and heavy consumptive propane devices and whatnot. And since GoSun had all of our own, ultra efficient solar powered appliance ecosystem, we basically figured out how to integrate all of our appliances in. And what that did was enable, kind of goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago, the space station or off-grid home design. When you build something that's super efficient in terms of its energy consumption, then the size of the solar array, or the amount of fuel that it takes to feed it is diminished as well, and you save so much there. So it's a off-grid camper that allows you to camp on your own without going to a campground and having to be hooked up.
Oh man,
fantastic!
It's neat.
It is.
When we bought our 2016 Nissan Leaf, we went to the owner's manual under towing, and it says, "Do not tow," because they don't make a trailer that makes sense to pull with that particular vehicle, or the BMW i3, really. But your camper, I will break the rules on what the manual says, and I'll just call Nissan, and I'll say, "Patrick said it's okay," and then I'm out of warranty, no harm, no foul at this point.
I have no problem saying I'm absolutely a fan of my favorite product that I saw on your website, and that is the combination travel mug, fresh
Yeah.
French press, heater included, coffee. I mean, it's everything you need for a great cup
Yeah.
of coffee. Take it on the go. That's genius. I
Wow.
love that.
Yeah.
That
Thank
is
you.
cool.
Yeah, I was just looking around my desk. I usually have one floating around. And what I'll do is like, if it was this morning's coffee and there's still a little bit in there, I can just plug it back in again and reheat it. And it's super convenient. You're spot on. I love French press coffee. And
Me too.
this month we have a fun little gig. We're running with Pete's Coffee. We're doing a little cross promotion with them, and anyone
Nice.
that buys one of those gets a free bag of their new coffee line, their Bright collection. Off the Grid and Suncatcher are the two names. So they
Oh,
found
fun.
us as well, and they had the
Okay.
same feeling. And it's like
Nice.
that invention, the mother of all invention is necessity, right? And with that particular one, it nails this. The backstory there is the fires during, there's been so many fires out west, but at the very beginning of COVID, I think it was 2020, the world felt like it was coming to an end, and there's so much of California that was just on fire. And my VP of development is a gentleman named Gary Starr. He has a super interesting background in electric vehicle production and whatnot. He's living out there, and he had all these fire refugees in through his community. I mean, literally people that had to just pick up and head out of home. And he was watching this one family, may have been living in their minivan. They were making a pot of coffee. Um, the guy had his hood open. Um, he had the pot of coffee sitting like on the engine block. He had an inverter kind of alligator clipped to his 12-volt battery. He's running the engine. He's making 1,200 watts to his inverter, and he's making a pot of that critical coffee, when you're camping out. And we thought there's got to be a better way to do this. Why hasn't anybody, come up with, and so, it takes a little long, like it takes the GoSun brew will take upwards of 15 to 20 minutes before the water is basically boiling because it's 12 volt, it's running on, but 12 volt is something we've really done a lot with because it's so ubiquitous. I mean,
Right.
every car, truck, boat, RV pretty much ever made since the 1950s will have that cigarette part. And we do a lot with that, and so that's a cool invention. It was one of those things where it's like we saw the need. It took us a couple years to nail it, and now we've sold thousands of them, and generally people are pretty happy.
I think you're going to sell another one. But listen to that backstory, really touched my heart. We have some good friends who were near the car fire. I think it was called Cars Fire, whatever they called it out there, and watched a whole town wiped off the map where she worked at a hospital, and they're just now rebuilding that hospital. But to think that that family, what they really needed was just that little bit of comfort that a cup of coffee brings, seems like nothing standing here,
But
but to them,
it's a sense of normalcy
yeah, it's like this
when
is what I
everything
do in
else
the
is
morning.
chaos around you.
And you seized on that and made that more possible for more people. That's awesome.
Beautiful.
And the alternative of, driving into town and waiting in line for a Starbucks or something, just kind of kills you. And a lot of time, like tying into that, a lot of times you weren't, I think probably even today, there's fire bans out west. Even in campgrounds, you're not allowed to use propane or gas butane stoves.
Right.
So here's another, like, I can't go camping without coffee. I don't have that guy.
What's the point?
I once tried to make coffee over a campfire like an old-fashioned way, and it was a disaster.
Right.
So when I saw that product, I was like, we might be able to try camping again with that.
There you go. Camping gets more and more comfortable every day with the GoSun and other things. I talk to a
Yes.
lot of older folks our age that are camping in their cars, like Tesla
Right.
car camping and stuff. And it's like, really? They're like, yeah, I can't stand Airbnbs and hotels. I don't want to deal with bed bugs and this and that. And I'll hit the truck stop after 2 days and take a shower. It's like, you're sleeping in that Model 3. And they're like, they're a doctor or dentist or something. Like, really? Sure. Yeah, we love it. It's super comfortable. We turn the AC on, listen to some music, put a campfire mode on. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
EVs are uniquely suited for that above gas cars because you're not you're not smelling exhaust fume or poison yourself through a leak in the body pan, you know? And people don't know you can run an electric car forever if you're not really putting a big load on it. You
Right.
turn the AC
Right.
on and off all night for 5, 6 nights.
Yeah, and one of the other really fascinating solar projects or companies that we follow is Aptera, which is a vehicle that's solar powered because of its efficient build, and they have a camping package. So their plan is to have this be a place you can
Off
camp.
the grid
So,
vehicle,
but
yeah.
I'm thinking it's a perfect match with so many of your products that would really enhance that experience.
Your audience is gonna love you, man.
Yes, yes.
No, I love Aptera. I can't wait to get
Yeah.
my hands on one. And I, it just the moment I saw it, I was like, yep, there it is. It's so aerodynamic, and yeah, it's surprising how much space is in there. And one of the solutions that we offer, I actually met with Chris out at a equity crowdfunding deal a couple of years back,
Oh,
and
good.
introduced him to this product called the GoSun Flow, which is a water purification and sanitation system.
We
I
talked
am
about that.
so
Yeah.
impressed by this.
Yeah, give us
It's
some details on that.
What's neat about it is like when you're off grid, water can be one of the biggest things that's a pain. Your RV might carry 40 gallons, and then you got the gray water and the black water tanks, and we blow through water as if it's the same as when we have our tap at home. We're using too much water in these applications off grid. And then, when you have to heat that water or something, it's ungodly amounts of energy, especially, or if you have to filter it. So what we decided was kind of similar to the LED light in compared to an incandescent light.
Right.
Let's use 1/10 of the energy or 1/10 of the water flow, but still get the same job done. And so the GoSun Flow has a 1 liter per minute flow rate, super tiny, but we send it out of this specialized nozzle at 15 psi, and it kind of, you get close to that and you can feel it like little water picks, knocking the dirt off your hands. Great for showering. And then, that low flow rate just allows you to you can comfortably shower in a gallon of water, which
Oh, that's awesome.
sounds very unsanitary, but it's all because of that low flow
That
rate.
is awesome.
It sounds more sanitary than stopping at the truck stop to me for a shower.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody
Yeah,
who does
exactly.
that, but I haven't done that before, and I think I'd prefer the flow.
Oh, well, even at a campground, oh my goodness, and going into the shower, it's just like
Yeah,
creepy.
you have to make sure you
No
ground your
offense.
flip flops.
Yeah, exactly. I won't bring anything home with me.
Yeah,
Well,
and the
that's-
flow, if I'm not mistaken, that fits in a backpack, so it's super
is that true?
portable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's tiny. Like, it's like 8 by 10 inches, and and the case has everything you need. It's actually great for backpacking. What I'll do is you can isolate various elements of it. So when I'm backpacking, I'll just bring the filter, the pump, and a little. It comes with a little, lithium ion battery, and then I'll go down to the stream and just plug the battery into the pump and go through the filter into my water bottles and stuff.
See, and
That's perfect for a go bag,
well, it is,
Yeah.
but also you mentioned off grid, but when Chad and I were living in Louisiana, Hurricane Gustav went through and knocked out our power and instituted a boil advisory. So now all of a sudden here we are where we have access to water, but it's not clean, and we have no way to purify it where we're at, and because we didn't think
Well,
about
we had an
that. But
electric
if we
stove,
had
we couldn't
this,
have, there was no way for us to heat
yeah,
it.
you couldn't boil it because your stove was electric. So that would have
horrible
been
time.
so nice to have.
Lifesaver.
I think we went 3 or 4 days without a shower because we didn't have access to the water to shower in. It was really tough. So even if you're on grid, this would still be an incredibly practical product to have. It's just really, really neat.
It's just another one of those like, duh, why aren't more people doing this? I'm an ad hoc inventor, all GoSun, we're just throwing ideas at the wall. We have a giant spreadsheet full of various ideas that we try to optimize and see what's sticking, what's the right trend. That one was on the wall for maybe 5 years, and then COVID hit, and it was like, well, sanitation needs are all of a sudden going to be super critical. We got to accelerate this thing. And it's been such a fun product to play with. And there's like 3 different versions of it now. So you kind of pick the right set for you. Just making off-grid water way easier.
Wow.
And sometimes like I'll just run with the filter alone because you can use the filter like a life straw. So like you can go on a long run, and as long as you find a creek, you can just drink right out of it, or a lake.
Really? That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Now that's efficient.
Now that's efficiency. Yeah. That's efficiency.
All right, so on your spreadsheet, my suggestion,
write it down,
I
Patrick.
don't need any consideration for this, but if you make a lot of money and you want to send me a little something, that's fine. But a solar-powered automatic litter box, that is a need in my house.
But you don't have sun in the house, babe.
We can work this out.
These are outdoor cats. These are.
Well,
Why would they use a litter box if they're outdoors?
I'm not the ideas person. Well,
Clearly.
I don't have to work on the execution. I'm just throwing out the idea. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, sorry about that.
Because I have litter box in the basement, and there is sunlight down there, but I don't have a lot of plugs to plug
you're
in an
talking about
automatic
solar
litter box.
windows. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Solar windows.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Put it on the spreadsheet. I guarantee you it's not on there yet.
You can't guarantee.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for taking some time to talk with us here on Drive the Lightning. We know that our audience is really going to enjoy what you have to offer at GoSun. So thank you for sharing some of your story with us.
Thank you all. It means a lot to see, you guys putting all this positive energy out there. It's needed. I love meeting folks that are equally optimistic. We got a really bright future ahead of us so long as we keep creating it and dreaming it.
There you go.
And we love people putting solar energy out there. So this is working out great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick, for taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Chad.
Norman and Steven, thank you both for the super things. It means the world to Sarah and I. We really do appreciate you both. And for the members of the channel, you are the ones that keep the wheels churning on the positively charged EV channel. Because of you, we can do interviews like this. Thank you. And the Mug Club, you mugs bought mugs, so these mugs can get back to California for some in-person Aptera coverage, which is coming sooner than you might think. Thank you all so much.